Hello and welcome. It is Black Maternal Health Week, which is every year from April 11th through 17th. And today we have an amazing program with Frontline Doulas called Healing Unlimited Births Through Collective Action and Advocacy for Embodied Legacies. We have a panel of experienced doulas who will be talking to us about the healing legacies of doulas and community care, the importance of self-advocacy during birth, how to become a Medi-Cal approved doula, and so much more. We will have a Q&A section at the end of the presentation, so please, please, please write your questions in the chat so they will be answered at the end. This presentation is being recorded, so if you miss any part of it, you can catch it on the library's YouTube channel, which is on the screen right now. And yes, now we will hand it off to Deanna. Take it away, Deanna.
Thank you, Hilda. All right. So welcome to the Los Angeles Public Library in collaboration with Frontline Doulas Black Maternal Health Week event, Healing Unlimited Births Through Collective Action and Advocacy for Embodied Legacies. My name is Deanna Carpenter, and I am the program manager for Frontline Doulas. Frontline Doulas is a perinatal health program that has connected over 800 plus Black families with Black doulas through our various programs in Los Angeles County, California, and the United States, such as our Frontline Doula Hotline, the California Black Doula Directory, and to quote our founders, our co-founders, we are inspired to do all of this because we believe that the revolution is in the womb. So we endeavor to embody that legacy. So Black Maternal Health Week was founded by Black Mamas Matter Alliance, a Black women-led cross-sectoral alliance that centers Black mamas and birthing people to advocate, drive research, build power, and shift culture for Black maternal health, rights, and justice. We are so excited for Black Maternal Health Week as it is an intentional time dedicated to bringing awareness, attention, education, advocacy, and action towards creating policies, research, and initiatives and programming that champions Black maternal health and hopefully reverses the discouraging trends and statistics that dramatically impact Black women and birthing people. So we welcome you to our webinar, Healing Unlimited Births Through Collective Action and Advocacy for Embodied Legacies. So I am very excited to present our featured guest doulas, and we'll start with Kefri Riley, co-founder and director of Frontline Doulas, the CEO of Urban Goddess Lifestyle and Los Angeles Birth Partners. Kefri is a women's mysteries mentor who comes from a lineage of birth keepers, preserving the art of the intuitive wise woman through everyday divine experiences. Her foray into the world of babies has its inspiration from 4 generations of Black birth workers and caregivers, most honorably her paternal great-grandmother, an African indigenous grandmother midwife from the Deep South. Kefri is a childbirth educator and prenatal yoga specialist and has taught thousands of people to mindfully embody the multifaceted experience of new parenthood. She brings over 20 years experience as a certified lactation education counselor, birth and postpartum doula, doula trainer, newborn care and childbirth educator, and Hypnobabies hypno doula. Kefri has attended over 300 births at all major hospitals in Los Angeles County. Her infant classes have been featured in People Magazine, NBC, CNN, and Fox Channel 11 News. Welcome, Kefri. Next, Michelle Sanders is a full spectrum doula, lactation educator, certified surgical technologist, and the founder of Beauty for Ashes Maternal Wellness Incorporated, a nonprofit that offers programming for birthing people at the highest risk for poor birth outcomes. Michelle has been providing support to birthing families throughout Los Angeles for over 20 years. She uses her vast knowledge and lived experiences to connect with parents to help them and their babies find their way. From 2019 to 2021, Michelle served as the program coordinator for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health AIM Doula program, where she helped to design and implement a free county-wide doula program for Black African-American birthing people. Presently, you will find her on the front lines advocating for Black moms and babies, or behind the scenes working to help birthing families get the support they deserve. She also provides mentorship to newer doulas. Michelle's strong belief that it takes a village to raise a child is the basis on which Beauty for Ashes Maternal Wellness Inc. service model of multi-generational support was founded. Welcome, Michelle. Felicia Francis Edwards has worked in the Los Angeles area for more than 30 years and has served in several capacities, including case manager, social work assistant, health education assistant, and clinic manager. She completed her doula training with Doulas of North America, or DONA, and immediately began to take on clients. Felicia works with 2 agencies that provide doula support for Black birthing people in Los Angeles, Frontline Doulas and the Los Angeles Public Health AIM, or African American Infant and Maternal Mortality Pilot. Each of these agencies provide free doula services to all Black birthing people. As a doula, Felicia has attended over 150 births. She feels that it is a sacred honor to serve pregnant people. She sees working as a doula as a calling that allows her to support the families she serves. To educate, encourage, and affirm is at the heart of her practice. She is grateful because she gets to do what she loves. Let's welcome Felicia. Ellen Branch serves Black birthing families as a full spectrum doula. As an individual, she brings a unique, well-versed perspective to everything she does, from spoken word poetry to empowering laboring women to advocate for themselves. She is a certified lactation education specialist, yoga instructor, and peer support group facilitator. She is committed to honoring herself and serving the community. She hopes to share laughter, moments of gratitude, and genuine connection with you and your family during this pregnancy journey, no matter the outcome. So we welcome Ellen. And next we have Lee Walker. Lee Walker is the owner and operator of Mama Lee's Douliveries, LLC. Get it? Douliveries, doula-iveries. Okay, you got it. She is a full spectrum doula offering unbiased, equitable, evidence-based prenatal birth support and postpartum care to families. Lee was one of the first Medi-Cal approved doula providers in California. We're going to speak more to that during our presentation. She is now contracted with multiple managed care plans, enabling her to serve a large number of clients in Southern California. Lee offers services through Frontline Doulas, Sankofa Birthworkers Collective, and is a community doula champion. She is passionate about serving her community and was recently featured on Spectrum News in a piece highlighting her practice and the importance of doulas. Welcome, Lee. And now I'm going to hand it over to Kefri, who will share with you all a little bit about me.
Absolutely, Deanna. We're so happy to have you always as our hostess with the mostess, Deanna Lynette Carpenter, who herself is a healing artist and creator of She Who Builds, a platform and community that supports women in confidently architecting and building a holistic life of their imagination. And she's Frontline Doulas program manager. She's on a mission to inspire healing, which she describes as a remembrance of and returning to one's truest self. Deanna is the author of 2 books, Lessons from the Fall and In My Solitude. In 2018, she released her first album, Tsunami. Deanna is a certified Kundalini yoga teacher and birth doula and is currently working on 2 musical offerings, Dreams and Rise Again. So that is our team for today, and we're excited to start the presentation.
So I invite, first of all, thank you, Kefri, for that beautiful introduction. And I invite you, Kefri, our co-founder, Frontline Doulas, to begin our webinar presentation. So the question I have for you is, what is the healing legacy of doulas and the power of community care? How can we heal unlimited births?
Well, I believe in the unlimited potential of all, especially the new babies that we are called into service for and to help be born. But if we're going to talk about the healing legacies of doulas and community care, through which we believe together we can heal unlimited births in our community, we have to talk about the grandmother midwives and our ancestors. So we'll go to the next slide. Many of you will be familiar with this beautiful face, Mother Biddy Mason, or Bridget Biddy Mason, 1818 to 1891. We have to give respect to the ancestors and those who have paved the path before us, who have been that, who have paved it in order for us to create a legacy upon it and whose shoulders we stand. The beautiful Bridget Biddy Mason was born into slavery in 1818, but Mother Biddy became one of the first prominent citizens and landowners in Los Angeles in the 1850s and 1860s. She founded the first African Methodist Episcopal Church in Los Angeles in 1872. Mason fought her freedom in court with the trial ruling that confirmed her freedom in 1856. As a free woman, Mason settled in Los Angeles with her children and worked as a nurse, a midwife, and a healer. In 1866, she purchased a nearly 1-acre site between present-day Broadway and Spring Street, between 3rd and 4th Streets in downtown LA. And throughout the years, this phenomenal Black woman purchased more property, which led her becoming a wealthy woman and a visionary philanthropist. She is the epitome of prosperity, of power, of beauty, of knowledge, and passing that baton on to the current birth workers of today. And so we really have to do a deep bow to Mother Biddy for all that she's offered to this profession and to this calling. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yes.
However, I want to also call to mind those who often are unsung, are really our everyday heroes, right? Those in our own family lineages, those that might be in our neighborhoods, those that might be in our own homes right now or across the street. Maybe we don't know their names. Maybe they aren't in the history books. And so I like to always remember those everyday heroes. Those are the ones that inspire us. And for my ancestral line, I'd like to share this photo of my grandmother, Big Mama Essie Riley, and my great aunt Trudy, Gertrude McGee. This picture is in 1951. They were African Indigenous midwives and baby workers in the Deep South, specifically Greenville, South Carolina. And my father used to be the midwife attendant to his great-grandmother, Lizzie McGee. You won't see her picture because it was a long time ago. I don't even know if they have a picture of her. And so these great women selflessly serve their communities and their neighborhoods. And oftentimes, as we're reclaiming this history and this legacy, we realize how selfless they were and how they served in conditions that are much harsher than today's conditions, whether it be during enslaved conditions or in the Jim Crow South and in other areas of this country where they had to do their work amongst violent conditions and oppression. And why we're here today, standing on their shoulders to unravel and reclaim that beautiful legacy of collective healing, communal care, and the beautiful magic that these grandmother midwives, baby care workers, and care workers, family workers bring to our present day movement. And you can see on the right, our present day movement, some pictures from our beautiful LA Medi-Cal Doula Hub Mingle launch, where there's several beautiful Black doulas and activists, and we're joined by Supervisor Holly Mitchell here. So now we are creating a collective new legacy from this beautiful lineage that we all spring from.
Ashe.
Ashe. Next slide.
All right. So now I will shift to Kefri and Michelle.
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to talk quickly, Deanna, about, and you, I think, also had some comments that we didn't want to miss regarding this.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we have a lot of disparities that are currently in the news, that are forefront and center, and why we're here to address these concerns in the Black community, birth work is this cultural legacy and is an inheritance that we can all claim. We don't have to wait for somebody to give it to us. We can claim it right now. And by its very nature, it is community care, meaning that we care for one another, we look out for one another, we lean on one another, and we resource ourselves as a collective. So doulas are here because of these grandmother midwives who planted these seeds. So doula work is liberation work by its very nature. And so we believe that we could heal our own births by reimagining the current narrative of fear and death due to the current disparities into the new narrative of wholeness and healing. So as we align to our personal power and our collective power, that's why these pictures are so powerful. You know, these pictures from way back in the day and then the current pictures right now, they scream to us to heal ourselves, to heal thyself, heal that primal power, that primal womb power. Frontline loves to say the revolution is in the womb because it all starts right at birth. It starts right now. So we unheal unlimited births by remembering that innate ability of the body, remembering that we are the carriers of the spirit and hold the strength to birth our children, feed our children, and raise our children within these supported frameworks that include intergenerational living, self-determination, conscious nutritional practices, and movement that bring ease and longevity. And we can do all those things and activate themselves within our own selves. And we need these to thrive in our community. And we need these things to heal unlimited births. So ask yourself, what is the birth I desire? Sometimes in the medical industrial complex, they're not really focused on the family. They don't ask you those kind of questions. But doulas, we ask, what kind of birth do you want? What kind of birth do you dream of? And so then find that deep desire to birth that. And that's what doulas do. We help you take steps to birth your best life, to birth your best birth. So doulas, midwives, community support together in this collective movement is how we heal unlimited births.
Beautiful. Thank you, Catherine. I just wanted to add to that. I know when we were discussing the presentation a few days ago, something that was coming through for me was we also heal unlimited births by examining and reassessing our thoughts, actions, and behaviors towards birth and the narratives that we have around birth, right? Like reviewing what has been passed down from generation to generation and reassessing what has been introduced and creating solutions that bring us to this healthy medium where we're honoring the wisdom of the past and we're also creating space and welcoming in the advancements of the present day in the modern times, right? And really creating this beautiful healthy medium. So also, like you mentioned, connecting with the body's wisdom and honoring and respecting the body's wisdom, as well as our own knowing, our own intuition. And so seeing the body not as separate, but as a fully intelligent instrument or vessel that we are in partnership with during birth, right? So honoring the body also includes what we feed ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So these are some more factors that I feel also factors into healing unlimited births. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deanna. I think it's important to talk about that holistic aspect of this, of our experience of birth, that emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and doulas do that. They address all those areas in the social emotional support we give. And so, Michelle, we're going to dive into this a little bit more, direct with you in the current state of maternal health in Los Angeles and how doulas help to mitigate maternal health and birth disparities. California being the highest number of births in the United States with over 420,000 live births in 2021. That's a lot of babies. And Los Angeles County alone accounting for 96,230 live births in 2021. And 42% of all these births in LA County are on Medi-Cal. So this is a large amount of babies coming through this West Coast scene. And the doulas on the West Coast, which is the best coast, are really here to help usher in these beautiful new humans that are here to dance upon this beautiful planet, and with the doulas right by their side. So Michelle, can you talk a little bit about how doulas mitigate disparities and what is the legacy of healing of community doulas?
Thank you, Kefri. Thank you, Deanna. First and foremost, let's just say that I love talking about this work. We all do, right? We can do this in our sleep with our eyes closed. Like we don't have to practice for this because we live this, right? And so for a lot of us, myself especially, I feel like I was born into this work. So before I ever took a doula training, before I ever read a book about what doulas are supposed to do or not, I learned from my grandmother. I learned from my mother. I learned from my great grandmother, who I was blessed and honored to have with us until she was about 103. So, my great grandmother was still alive when I had my first child at 18 here in South Los Angeles, right? And so I just think about everything that was passed down from them to me, not knowing at the time what it was preparing me for. But culturally, there are things that are just innate to us, to each individual, to each culture, as far as how to take care of our women, how to take care of our birthing people. And if we can all just think back, birth, pregnancy was not always such a thing that occurred in the hospitals, right? Like Kefri mentioned, the grand midwives facilitated and ushered in most of these babies. And so the knowledge that they passed down also was passed down as far as the doulas were concerned. So maybe we weren't called doulas back then, but there was always that person who was the educator, who was the supporter, the emotional support, the spiritual support for birthing people, for pregnant women, for the families. And so in history, we see that, Black women have been doing this for so long, taking care of each other in community. The way that I grew up was having all these aunts around when there was a baby being born, when someone was pregnant, the preparation that went into getting ready to welcome this baby is how I learned how to do the work that I do today. And it's how I show up and how I train other doulas to show up. It's not as much about what you read in a book, it's more about the lived experiences of us as Black women, the way we show up for each other. And so, as Kefri shared some of these numbers about how many births there's been in California, all the births in Los Angeles County specifically, it really brings home the point that we say this, but we really need a doula on every block, or two, or three, or five, because there's so many babies being born, and babies are going to continue to be born. And doulas are so important in helping to mitigate these disparities, because as educators, we are supporting our clients so they can truly give informed consent. And when I say informed consent, I'm talking about having the information, understanding what's being presented to them, what their options are, what their rights are, and being able to then consent, instead of what we see most of the time is people consenting out of fear, people consenting without the actual knowledge of what they're consenting to. And so informed consent is super important. And then when we talk about disparities, we can't overlook the systemic racism that is built into the medical system here in the United States. And to give some examples of what that looks like, it looks like Black women and birthing people being ignored, being discriminated against. More specifically, we can give the example of April Valentine, who died here in Los Angeles County a couple of years ago. April was very healthy. She prepared for her birth. Um, and she was in the hospital asking for help. She was crying for help because she knew something didn't feel right. Her partner was also there, also crying for help because April knew something didn't feel right. He knew something wasn't right, and she was ignored. April lost her life that day, and her daughter was delivered by emergency cesarean because she was ignored. Kira Johnson, also Los Angeles County. Kira knew something was wrong. Kira's husband knew something was wrong. They cried for help. Their cries were ignored until it was too late. Kira lost her life. And so when we talk about folks asking for help and being denied, what comes to mind is the fact that people need to remember that each individual is the subject matter expert on their body. Intuitively, if you feel like something is wrong and you voice that to the people who are supposed to be caring for you, those needs should be met. Those concerns should be addressed. And unfortunately, for a lot of Black folks in this country, that's not the way this plays out. And so as doulas, we're not the total solution to the disparities, but we're there to advocate for our clients. We're there to help be another set of eyes and ears, to help try to achieve this beautiful birth that every single birthing person deserves. We work really hard with our clients leading up to and preparing for birth, whereas some people just think, oh, the doula shows up when you're in labor and they tell you to breathe. Like, we do so much more before that. And then after, in the postpartum, honoring what has transpired and how the body needs to heal, how the soul needs to heal, how you need to reset after having this baby, and how that community is a part of all of that. And so that is how doulas show up. And we are going to continue to show up. We need so many more doulas to meet the needs of LA County, of California, of this country. But we're here for the work, y'all.
Michelle, I think one of the biggest takeaways from what you said is for us to uplift and listen to the voices of Black women when they're giving birth, when they're in their postpartum time, during their pregnancy
Absolutely.
time. And doulas do that. We center the voice of the Black woman, of the Black birthing person and their family. And I think that oftentimes people say, oh, doulas shouldn't advocate, right? That's one of the big debates in our profession, of which we say we call that one out. That one absolutely will never help us. And so doulas help the families to self-advocate and advocate for the families as a chosen advocate. And it's such a major cultural shift for us to embrace the power that we have as advocates and collectively to act, in action. And so you brought that forward, how important that is. And also about the postpartum time, like really reclaiming postpartum and understanding the importance of healing and taking care of ourselves after the baby is born. And doulas help to center that healing legacy after the baby is born. Did you want to talk a little bit about postpartum, and then we'll go on to the next slide?
So specifically when we're talking about postpartum, the way society handles postpartum is really heartbreaking to me, because of what we go through to grow a baby and birth a baby. Our bodies need so much more time to heal than what society thinks that we need. The level of support, the way that medical care is even set up for postpartum folks. We need so much more care, time, and nurturing in the postpartum, and that's just not commonplace in society. People think like that 40 days is like old school, but I'm here to say like the old school is the best school. It is what we need in postpartum. We need the time to be nurtured, to be loved on, to get the nourishment, to replenish our bodies, and that looks like having your family around you. That looks like having your doula. That looks like having the support that you need if you are choosing to breastfeed, bottle feed, chest feed, whatever the choice is, having the support to make that as easy for you as possible. Also, understanding that postpartum depression is very common. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And having support is like the biggest uh, tool, or the best tool to lessen postpartum depression, to help it not be as severe, or to stop it at the gate altogether. Just having support. And what this does, this support, even though it seems like a small thing, it can change the trajectory for a family, right? Having support versus not having support can mean a family that is thriving or just surviving. And we want every family to thrive. The support is here. It's not just doulas, right? And we know that the doulas are here. And just to give a little caveat, some folks are thinking, well, what if you can't afford a doula? Doulas are free. We have free doulas everywhere. Everybody can have a doula. There are resources available. But let's say you don't want a doula. That's an option also, right? So you don't want a doula for your postpartum, but reach out, activate your village. That can be your mom, your grandmothers, your aunts, your sisters, your cousins, your friends, your neighbors, people who will show up for you. Sometimes it's hard for us to ask for help, but understand that asking for help is strength in itself. And we need that, especially in these times today. We need to take care of each other the way that we used to. So, postpartum is not for the weak. Postpartum is not 6 weeks. Postpartum is not 12 weeks, whatever your job gives you off of work. The postpartum period can be a year. The postpartum period can be 2 years. Me, myself, I joke about being 21 years postpartum because my youngest son is 21. But it takes a community, it takes a village to uplift birthing people, to support us in transitioning from not being a parent into parenthood, or a parent of one or two to multiples. Postpartum period can look so different for so many people, but understanding that asking for help is the first way to make your postpartum experience be a lot more pleasant. And that's what we want for everybody.
We do. And, now that Medi-Cal is covering births, it's going to make postpartum care from doulas that much more accessible across the communities of LA County. And so we're really, really excited about that development. But we want to remind families out there and birthing people right now that your family, your friends, your community, your neighbors are your support. And to just take time to really assess what it is you need and bring that into your birthing experience. You know, a large amount of the postpartum demises for both mothers and babies are in the year postpartum. And so if we can create more care systems and more ways that we can lean on one another and get your doula, get your cousin, get somebody to come in there and check on you and to be with you and to support you, that we're going to be able to prevent a lot of those deaths in the postpartum period, just simply by creating this community of care around oneself when you are recovering after your birth. You are valuable, you are important, you are the beautiful root of this beautiful baby that you grew. So we got to make sure that we're there for each other in that time. So doulas help do that, and they help reclaim that for you and are part of your care system, not just one, but they are a part of it. And so let's go to the next slide so we can move on. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that.
Thank you.
Beautiful reminders. Yeah, thank you.
So powerful. Thank you both for your power, passion, purpose, presence, and just poise. It really was coming through in what you were saying. And it really helps us to transition to our next topic. And we're going to invite Doula Felicia to the stage. And so these are a few things that we want to share with you all around the importance of self-advocacy during birth. You know, you have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. You have the right to receive support from a doula, a birth companion, or other professional, as was stated by Michelle and Kefri. You have the right to care that meets your needs, regardless of body size, presentation, expression, and disability. And you have the right to receive care that is free from racism, discrimination, and obstetric violence. And so, Felicia, Doula Felicia, I wanted to ask you if you would share with us the importance of self-advocacy during birth. You know, talk to us about your legacy of advocacy.
Self-advocacy and advocacy are essential for the survival and for the health of a family. It is super important to be able to have your voice. And one of the things that we experience, like mentioned with Michelle and Kathy earlier, is a lot of times where African American women's voices are not heard. So by having a second layer of self-advocacy with your support person makes an extremely big difference because of the issue of not being heard. So one of the things that I do as a doula is during our prenatal visits, I include the people who are going to be there with the client during the labor and support. So what I do is I educate them and I model for them what advocacy looks like so that when they're in that setting, it won't be overwhelming. And I found that once people understand that they can say no, if a medical provider may be making a suggestion that is counter intuitive to them, they can say, we can use informed consent and talk about brain benefits, risk, um, alternatives, intuition, and need time. So when people learn those things, then they're able to just self-advocate in a way that's much, much stronger. One of the biggest examples we see very often is that people are kind of being pushed into inductions at 38 weeks or 39 weeks. And so that happens so frequently, and a lot of people will just lean in with the medical providers because they feel that they are the experts. And they are the experts, but you are the expert with your body. You're the expert of what things that are going on with you. And so it's important to be able to ask the questions, to be able to get informed consent. But with the advocates, what I say, I encourage you as someone who's standing in advocacy, a partner, a sibling, a parent, a friend, is to be able to be bold and to be able to be present for that person so that they understand that that advocacy is in place. It's being able. One of the things I do in advocacy very often, if a client is concerned about a particular thing that's going on, I'm not the identified patient, so I'm not part of the treatment team. But what I typically do when my clients do that, I'll say, let them know what you told me. Tell them what you told me. Tell them what things happened or concerns you had. So by having that open door of communication provided by someone else, it kind of allows very often people who may be a little bit intimidated and maybe a little scared to speak up to feel that they can have their voice. And I think that self advocacy support with families, friends is tantamount for your health of birthing and parenting people. And I think it's something that is just a wonderful gift. And I know as a doula, I know one thing is that when we show up, they know we know how stuff's supposed to go. So when stuff starts moving to the left or to the right, as doulas, we'll plot things. Now we're not going to interrupt the process, but we're going to just take note and be able to communicate any observations or concerns that even the client may be articulating. So it's a wonderful thing to be an advocate. It's wonderful to have the advocacy, and I think it's just necessary for the health of African American women with all the disparities that we experience.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Thank you for sharing your heart, and we can feel just the way you support and to help those moms and birthing persons that you are assisting, as well as their families, to really come together and be able to speak and to be able to give voice to that which they may be a little bit fearful to say, and just reminding us of that beautiful role in the space that doulas also hold for birthing families. So thank you so much. Kefri, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, as we shift to the next slide and welcome in Doula Lee, I wanted to thank Felicia, who has been one of the most incredible community doulas serving Los Angeles County families for so many years, and how we really have to remember that we have the power, that our voice is up to be honored, it is to be heard, it is to be listened to. And what you're feeling, your instincts, your inner knowledge, it is to be trusted. And I think that we just have to shift from fear into power. And a doula can help support a family find that voice and use that voice powerfully during their birthing time. And so we want to respect the doulas and respect the families. In California, there's so many things that Medi-Cal beneficiaries or families have the right to. And we want to talk a little bit about that and welcome in some of our doulas who are doing this amazing work for families in LA County. You have the right to doula care for pregnancy and birth, for 12 months postpartum, abortion, stillbirth, or miscarriage. Doulas can support you. You have the right to comprehensive obstetric care and perinatal services. You have the right to access midwifery-based care. You have the right to birth at a freestanding birth center. You have the right to breast or body feed and have education, counseling, and medically related services around feeding your infant. And you have the right to access abortion services. So as a Medi-Cal beneficiary or person on Medi-Cal, you have the right to all of these things. Next slide. Now, one of the rights that we're talking about today is the right to having a doula as a medical provider for you during your birthing time. And so we've got a few QR codes that you can scan here to learn more about how to become a Medi-Cal doula. There's websites that will help resource you and support you along your journey. There's the ladoulahub.com website. There's fact sheets, and there's also resource guides for you. So we want to welcome you to scan those and to look into the chat and click on some of those links for you so that you can access that information. But now I want to bring in Doula Lee Walker and talk about sharing some of the steps that you took to become a Medi-Cal approved doula provider and how you feel your work as a Medi-Cal doula contributes to your legacy, Lee.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm so happy to be here and be able to share this work and hopefully encourage other doulas to join in. And the Medi-Cal doula has opened up so many doors to where I'm able to access so many different, many more moms that previously did not have access or the means to acquire a doula. So I really want to encourage the doulas. There are a few steps, but literally, when I first credentialed, it was the wild, wild west. I'll go ahead and be honest. It was like we were in uncharted waters, and navigating a space that, they didn't know where we were coming from and we didn't know where we were going. But I knew that I had to persevere because I wanted to be able to, like I said, make this accessible to as many people as possible, especially the people in the community that are underserved, usually, which are the Medi-Cal recipients. So yes, I did have to acquire an MPI number. Now, I will say I was familiar a little bit with NPI numbers because I have a pharmacy background. So it wasn't like NPI, like I'd never heard of it, but I was super inspired and, honestly honored that I was able as a mere doula to get an NPI number. I'm like, I know those are for like, medical professionals. I get the doctor's NPI numbers. Now, by no means did I think, okay, I'm a doctor now, but I kind of felt like one. So, yes, we have laid it all out. These QR codes that Ms. Kefri is sharing with everyone, literally every step is laid out for you. And with this great community of the doula champions and the doula hub champions, we are here to help you with every step of the way. You do need an MPI number. You do need to check with your city to see if they require you to have a business license for your business. Some cities, it's city specific. Some cities do not require you to have a business license for a doula business. So check with them. You will have to do a little bit of due diligence just on a few things to make sure that you are, because this is your own business. We want to talk about legacy. I am so inspired that I now have a business. I have an 18-year-old daughter who sooner rather than later might be entering into this space where she is a mother. She is absolutely entering. She's about to graduate from high school. She's looking at me. She sees that my mom has her own business. She has a business license. She's filing business taxes. She's able to come to all of my senior activities because she's able to schedule her time. Now, she always knows that that's if a baby doesn't come. But anything other than that, I'm there. So I always talk to my moms about, my mom, even though my mom was there for me as a support person, she had me at 16. She definitely was on Medi-Cal. She did not she had a C-section. She did not breastfeed me. She had a cesarean with my brother. She did not breastfeed him. So I was able to change the trajectory of our family. I had a vaginal birth. I was able to breastfeed my baby. So although she was there for me, she couldn't support me in those areas. I am now able to write a different narrative for my family and for these families that I serve, and to let them know, hey, it doesn't matter. We have so many. Well, my mama had a C-section. My grandmother had a C-section. And if that's the way the baby has to come, there's no shame in it. It's fine. But that does not have to be your story. We can educate you to where you are empowered to advocate for the birth that you want and the legacy that you want your family to have. So that is the importance of this work. That is my passion. That is why I'm all fired up over here. And I am just so blessed and honored to be able to do this work and share everything that I know and pour myself out to these mamas and to these families and to these other doulas.
Ooh, yes, we felt that fire. That fiery love, that fiery joy, that fiery passion, and the fiery commitment. Thank you so much, Lee, for your grace and your wisdom, and just even the simple encouragement that it's not that hard. And I take my hat off to you, if I had one, for being one of the pioneers, one of the first ones to actually, experience that process. And I just want to just celebrate that, because it was a wild, wild west, and you endured, and here you are now. I like to think of the people who went before us as we're talking about legacy, right? Those who went before us, and because of their steps, it creates a smoother path, a more easeful path for us. And so I just want to say thank you so much. And just thank you for all of that joy. And so we will go ahead and move. I know we're getting closer to the end of our time with you all. I hope that you are enjoying this webinar and being able to click on the links that are being provided in the chat. And so I just want to share a little bit more about how to access the Medi-Cal Doula Benefit. And we'll be bringing to the stage our doula, Ellen. And so these are some of the doula services for Medi-Cal members. You can click on this QR code. And so you are able to receive an initial visit with your doula and up to 8 additional visits that may be provided in any combination of prenatal and postpartum visits, okay? You'll also receive support during labor and delivery, which includes labor and delivery resulting in a stillbirth, abortion services, as well as miscarriage, okay? And also up to 2 extended 3-hour postpartum visits after the end of a pregnancy. And so in addition, you have up to 9 additional postpartum visits are also available with additional recommendations from a physician or other licensed practitioner of the healing arts. So you can go to this website, www.ladoulahub.com/resources for more information on that. And to the right of the screen, we also have the numbers and names of some of the managed care plan member services. And as a pregnant and or postpartum Medi-Cal member, you can again receive doula services. And so if you want to know how to do that, you can contact your health care plan provider and be able to receive that information. So Ellen, I wanted to ask you if you can talk to families about doula care and the new Medi-Cal Doula Benefit and how they can access this benefit. And also entwined in that, if you can share a little bit about what is your legacy.
Thank you, Deanna. So as far as the Medi-Cal Doula Benefit, you definitely want to call the number that's on the back of your card or call the number that's in your app, depending on which managed care plan that you are assigned to. If you don't have Medi-Cal, but you know that you're pregnant now, or you know that you are going through whatever the options are for you as you enter into your reproductive health, you can definitely apply for Medi-Cal, or you can call DHCS, and they will guide you through the process and get you linked in with a managed care plan. And then if you're already pregnant and you know that you want a doula, verifying the information with your managed care plan and saying, hey, do I qualify for doula services? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be yes. If they tell you no, then you have the opportunity to say, okay, well, can I switch plans? Or is there an option for me to align with being able to have a doula? So each of these plans, so LA Care, Health Net, Kaiser, Blue Shield Promise, Molina, and Anthem, all have teams that are designated for the doula benefit, and they'll be more than happy to support you. And you may get someone on the line that's like, oh, what's a doula? Then you let that person know, hey, is there someone else I can talk to? Because this is a very new benefit and things are changing on a monthly and a quarterly basis. So just be patient and do your best to get in sooner than later. So don't wait until you're like 34 weeks because it may be difficult for you to get with a doula, as we do have, like Lee mentioned, we're available unless babies are being born or unless we have already marked off our schedule and been on call. And then for me, as far as the legacy building and what it means for me is, as a doula, I get to support so many families. It's a blessing to be able to see clients and their families grow from babies that were delivered in COVID. So now they're like turning 4 or 5 years old. And it's super exciting because you get to be a part of that journey with them. And especially in my heart now with being a full spectrum doula is being able to provide that support for mamas who may have to deliver a stillborn baby. And for a lot of us, we don't think about that, right? We think about pregnancy and delivery as this joyous experience that's going to end in a healthy mom and a healthy baby. But as others in the webinar have mentioned, April Valentine and so many other moms, as well as the moms who are here and did make it, but their babies didn't. So how, as doulas, can we continue to provide support? And with stillbirths and with abortion care and miscarriage support, that is also a part of being a doula. You don't always get to see the babies, and you don't always get to have time with the moms. And when you do, it's providing that love and care and, hey, what do you need? And sometimes they don't need anything. They just want you to sit with them, and you're just sitting and you're just being present. And providing that support also for the family members and the partner and their husband or whoever's there with them in the home as they journey through this healing process, regardless of the outcome.
Thank you so much, Ellen, and for reminding us that this is a whole spiral of experiences, it's a circle of experiences. This is a full spectrum benefit. So that means you're going to get care before the baby is born. You're going to get care after the baby is born. You're going to get care if you choose to have a pregnancy release or abortion, or if there's a stillbirth or miscarriage. And a doula can accompany you and support your family through all of those experiences. And you do not have to be alone. And your voice does not have to be silenced. And your body can be treated with respect and honor. And you can have a healthy reproductive life. And doulas help to support that health. So thank you, Ellen, for your countless service to all the families that you're serving. And we want to invite the public to join this birth equity movement. And we wanted to share a few resources on the next slide that can help you join in and be a part of this and contribute your voice. Maybe you're interested in becoming a doula yourself and want to support pregnant families. Maybe you want to become a Medi-Cal doula. So join the birth equity movement and support your local birth justice organizations. We've given the information about Frontline Doulas in the chat at ladoulahub.com. Join our listservs, join our newsletters so you can learn more about this opportunity to become a doula to serve Medi-Cal families, and also just to be an advocate and an activist for families in your neighborhood and your community, to lift your voice, to speak out for the rights of pregnant birthing people and uplift the voices of Black mothers and babies and pregnant people. Next slide. This is one of the advocacy forums that we've developed. If you as a Medi-Cal family is having problems accessing the doula benefit, and if you as a Medi-Cal doula have problems delivering services, or if you are interested in becoming a Medi-Cal doula and you're having a problem enrolling or contracting with the plan, this is a feedback form and the bit.ly Medi-Cal benefit feedback, so that you can let us know what's happening with you. And this is ways that the doula advocates can get the information to DHCS and to the managed care plans and to the systems, so that way we can continue to create change. And we do that by sharing your direct stories. So we encourage you to advocate for yourself and utilize this form where applicable. We invite you to join this birth equity movement by supporting these local birth justice orgs. We have Southern California orgs on the left side with Beauty for Ashes Maternal Wellness, Kindred Space LA, Birth Workers of Color Collective, the AIM Doula Initiative, California Abundant Birth Project, and Sankofa Birth Workers Collective of the Inland Empire. These are just some amazing orgs. In NorCal, we have Roots of Labor, Black Women Birthing Justice, Children of the Sun in Queens Village, Sister Web, Oakland Better Birth Foundation, and Diversity Uplifts, Inc. That's also in SoCal. And Black Mamas Matter Alliance, the incredible organization that is bringing forth Black Maternal Health Week. Support them, join them, all of the Instagrams, all of the Facebooks, all the ways to engage and to be a part, and donate to these organizations as well. We need that financial support as well. So we want to really invite you to be a part of this movement and see how you can create change in your community, create collective action and advocacy for embodied legacies throughout all of our communities.
Yes, thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome. I wanted to welcome in to close. We just have about 7 minutes left. And as you know, one of Frontline's legacies is the revolution is in the womb. And these powerful birth workers are here today to share with you their legacy. And so I wanted to ask our birth workers, just in one sentence or less, how can doulas of today leave a legacy of collective action and advocacy? How can we, in this doula movement, leave a legacy of collective action and advocacy? Felicia.
By speaking up, using your voice. And even if you're afraid and your voice is trembling, say it anyway.
Michelle.
Uh, uh, okay. So for like senior doulas, as myself, Felicia, those of us with this experience, uplift this next generation, this next wave of new doulas, and empower them to, carry on this legacy of healing and nurturing and support.
Prioritize your mental and emotional wellness throughout this journey. If you are thinking about becoming a doula, you might need a doula to doula you sometimes. So just understand that the folks who are serving are just as vulnerable as the population that we serve, and you have to put yourself first and prioritize your wellness so that you can pour from a full cup.
Michelle and Ellen took the words right out of my mouth. First of all, each one teach one. I would not be where I am today without the beautiful network of fellow doulas and birth workers that I am in connection and community with. Kefri knows, they all know I'll call them at the drop of a dime when I run into a problem, when I'm running into an issue. So just having a network or different birth worker sisters that you can call on to help you, just like we encourage our mamas and families to reach out for help, we have to reach out for help when we need it. Don't stop. When you run into a roadblock trying to, contract with the Medi-Cal plan, ask someone for help and keep going.
I love that, Lee. Thank you. Yeah, those of us on the front line need to take care of each other on the front line. Yeah, we cannot do this alone. This work has a high level of burnout because of the way that we don't reach out for support. And so let's create those systems of support for one another, just as we do for the families that we serve. We are so valuable. We are the gems in the crown, and we need to be able to take care of one another and help each other shine as bright as possible. We want to move for the last 4 minutes here into the Q&A. And we noticed that there is some questions in the chat, and we'd love to be able to support. Hi, Hilda.
Hi. So I'm just here for the Q&A. Thank you all so much for an amazing presentation. So many resources that were shared. But let's jump into the questions. I did see that there was one question here that was pretty pressing, I feel like. Is there a medical doula training upcoming?
Yes, absolutely. So if the person here were to go to ladoulahub.com/resources, there will be a link for doulas that takes you to a Google form where you can put your name into our where we collect names for when we have upcoming doula trainings that will be offered in the community. So that will be birth doula trainings, abortion doula trainings, postpartum doula trainings. So you can click on the resources link that was put in the chat, and you can go to where it says sign up for upcoming trainings. And there you will join the list so that way we can let you know when there's upcoming Medi-Cal doula trainings. Absolutely, Tony. We welcome you to join, and join our contact us list, join our newsletters, join our Instagram channels. That's where we put all of the different calendars for the events. So our next Doula Mingle is coming up May 27th. So we welcome you to come there, meet the other doulas, and just to welcome yourself into the community where we can be a part of helping you, supporting you, and educating you along your journey to become a doula and a Medi-Cal doula, if that's your choice. Lots of opportunities coming up.
We have time for one more question. And I just have this one question on my end. I have been assisting the births of family members and friends for over 10 years, but I'm not a certified doula. Do I still need to complete a training to become a Medi-Cal approved doula?
This is such an amazing question. So, no. If you have experience, there is one of the pathways to become a Medi-Cal doula is called the experience pathway. So you have the training pathway where you would take a doula training and complete the necessary requirements there. If you have experience serving families and can make those reference letters and can show that you have been serving families within the last 7 years, and those letters and attestation letters are on the website and very easy for you to access, then you can utilize your experience to be able to apply to the doula benefit. You will still have to get an MPI number, business license if that's required, and that various things that are required of you to become a Medi-Cal doula, but your experience serving families, as long as you can prove that with attestations and letters, will qualify you.
Amazing. And that's all we have time for. But I want to thank Frontline Doulas. I want to thank Kefri and Deanna and Felicia and Michelle, Ellen, and Lee. Thank you so much for this informative session that we just had. For everybody who's been watching, let's remember that this is recorded. It's going to be on YouTube. So check out our YouTube page for the library, and you can watch this as many times as you need to get all the information that was just given to us by Frontline Doulas. And also want to let you all know that we have a maternal and family health page. And please check that out because we're going to be working with Frontline Doulas for a couple more in-person workshops. And let me actually put this on there. Shoot. Okay. I don't think I have the link up yet, but let me tell you the name of the link so you can all go on there. Okay. There it is. So please go there and check that out. And again, thank you all so much for joining us. You will also find other resources like book lists and more information about Black Maternal Health Week on that page. Again, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful day. And remember, it's still Black Maternal Health Week, so please look out in your communities for events that you may have in any state that you're in. Thank you.